If I would have said this is how basketball is going to end in April, Connecticut winning and what we saw in the women's game with Iowa and LSU, what would be more surprising with the reaction and surprises that we had?
I would probably, man, that is tough. I would say Connecticut because they were unranked coming into the season. I mean, Connecticut lost to New Mexico State in the opening round of the NCAA tournament a year ago. They lost their backcourt. They brought in Tristan Newton, who was a two guard, and they moved to point guard. Now, look, they had good pieces, but they hadn't come together. They had a red shirt in Alex Caravan, who hadn't played a minute of basically Division I college basketball yet. He had a huge impact on this team. They were relying on a freshman coming off the bench, Donovan Clingan. So I would say that it would probably be Connecticut. Their journey has been phenomenal. And the move back to the Big East was the vehicle. Yeah. But the driver of that bus, Danny Hurley, that dude he's the real deal.
If I said that you could recruit players or you could do transfer portal if you were still coaching, so you could get high school players or you go transfer, what would you use?
I'd find a balance. I would use the transfer portal to fill in basically spots where we needed help. They lost their backcourt. They needed a guard. They went there. They also recruited Donovan Clingan, who's going to be the best post player in college basketball next year. So I think you've got to find a balance. Look, the Blue Bloods can always recruit high school players because they're only recruiting the very best high school players. Here's the problem. It's those other guys that they're recruiting high school players that maybe not already, that have to take time to understand how to play hard, how to play with other good players. The problem is the lack of patience for those guys. Those guys go to a place, and you know what? There's a good chance they're going to leave because the static around all of these young players, Dan, is so great that if they don't get what they want when they want it, they feel like the best thing is to move on. And that's where I think Connecticut has really done a good job. They've gotten some high school guys, developed those guys. They've bought in. And he didn't just acquire talent. What he's done is he's built a team. The pieces fit. They embrace roles. They don't do what they can't do. You know, I heard you talking a little earlier about the conversation with the non-conference. They lost 6 of 8. Well, first of all, Danny had COVID. He missed a bunch of practices. You get into league play, there are no surprises. There are no surprises in league play. People know what they're going to give, what they're going to take away, who they're going to force to make plays. So you're going to lose games in league play. I mean, they lost twice to Xavier, very, very good team. They lost at Providence. St. John's, I think, at home was a little bit of a shocker. They lost to a certain style of team, but watching them practice, and I go watch them practice a whole bunch, the standard they set in practice is unbelievable. The guy can really coach it. The other thing you guys were talking about earlier is Danny Hurley didn't miss any steps, Dan. Right? Look, his basketball career as a player was maybe what everyone wanted it to be. He faced his demons. He lived with it. He was an assistant coach to his dad at St. Anthony's. His dad runs the best practice I've ever seen, including watching Hubie Brown, John Calipari, Bill Self, and any other person that we would all know who they are. His dad is a master teacher and coach. Assistant coach for his dad. Assistant coach at Rutgers, got fired. Head coach at St. Benedict's High School, built a national high school power. Wagner, low Division I, 25 games his last year. Rhode Island, mid-major. All right, back-to-back NCAA tournaments, advancing the tournament, and then to UConn. So, like, he's 50 years old, but he paid his dues. Nothing was given to him. He went step by step to build an understanding of what it takes to be an elite leader, an elite coach. He grew as the season went along this year. So I'm so impressed with his growth and what he's been able to do.